It's Monday night, May 26th. It's Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. Tomorrow night, I'm going to San Francisco to see the band Goose. For the agenda tonight, I have a sponsored request. Eyes of the World, 8/6/1974. Good, we have my 3 returning viewers. Welcome. This is the sponsored Grateful Dead song, Eyes of the World, 8/6. Let's see where this fun is. Now, this looks like it's just pictures, so this should not get blocked out. It's usually the videos themselves that have been copyright and not necessarily the songs, the music. So, okay, let me make sure my chat. Yes, tomorrow Goose will be great. Okay, you guys are here. Good. All right, we're ready. Eyes of the World. I wonder if I should look up the lyrics first. Eyes of the World lyrics. Oh, it's heavy. It's heavy, heavy, heavy. Right outside this lazy summer home, you ain't got time to call your soul a critic, no. Right outside the lazy gate of winter summer home, wondering where the nut thatch winter's wings a mile long just carried the bird away. Wake up to find out that you are the eyes of the world. The heart has its beaches, its homeland, and thoughts of its own. Wake now, discover that you are the song and the morning brings, but the heart has its seasons, its evenings, and songs of its own. There comes Redeemer, and he slowly fades away, and there follow his wagon behind him, and that's loaded with clay, and the seeds that were silent all burst into bloom and decay, and nights come so quiet it's close on the heels of the day. Wake up to find out that you are the eyes of the world, and the heart has its beaches, its homeland, and thoughts of its own. Wake now. Discover that you are the song that the morning brings, but the heart has its seasons, its evening and songs of its own. Sometimes we live no particular way but our own. Sometimes we visit your country and live in your home. Sometimes we ride on your horses. Sometimes we walk alone. Sometimes the songs that we hear are just songs of our own. Wake up to find out that you are the eyes of the world, and the heart has its beaches, its homeland, and thoughts of its own. Wake now. Discover that your song, the heart. Okay. Got it. It's a lot. Here we go.
song has its seasons, its evenings, its songs of its own. Hey folks, down in front, there's this fence here and it's got some sharp wire on the top of it, and you're stupid if you climb on it, because it's gonna cut you. Well, don't climb on the fence, idiot. Hey folks, we came here to have a good time and listen to music, and not to trade punches or get in anybody's face.
Wow. Okay, I have like so many thoughts. Okay, so for those who joined late, this was suggested in a for $10. So someone paid me, and to that, when they pay me, it goes to the top of my list always. So if you pay, I like cuts the line. Whew, it just goes to the top. But I'm glad they did it because this has been my favorite song that of the Grateful Dead that I've heard so far. But to be specific about it, I like the jams much better than the song itself. So I think the actual melody and lyrics are like, they're okay. Like, they're like, okay. Like I said, I made a joke. Okay, so for those of you, because the chats have not been showing up on my videos afterwards, but they're supposed to. So you can't see what I'm saying during the thing. So I'm going to read some of the things out loud so when this gets reposted, post the live, that you guys can know what everyone said. So people said, jazz, killer jazz section. Okay, and that's true. Someone said it was going to have that. Someone said they're drumming along with their sticks on the ottoman. Someone said this is, and then I said this is probably my favorite Grateful Dead jam I've heard so far. Then we got a guitar emoji, fire emoji, guitar, fire emoji. And then someone said, yeah, this is the best one I've seen you react to. Someone was late. And then someone said, screw the singing. Just kidding. The jam is where it's all out. Woo. Someone said, Phil, exclamation mark. Sometimes comes the Redeemer and he slowly fades away. Someone said, I got to see it in Richmond in November 1985 and Alpine Valley in June 1986, both amazing. Someone said, get ready for the breakdown. I said, the chorus sounds like I asked AI to write a typical hippie-sounding chorus with flower child lyrics, which I think is true, okay? Like, it just sounds like if I was in a movie, like if I was going to make a movie and I wanted to have a song written for the movie to be like, oh, make a song that sounds like it's from like 1968 to 1973, that's kind of like hippie era, that we don't want to pay royalties to a real band. Like, can you make a song that sounds like a typical song? And so to me, that's what it sounds like to me, which is accurate because that's what it is. I'm saying it sounds like what it's supposed to be. So that's not a, I guess what I'm trying to say, it's not a bad thing. It's just, it sounds like what I would expect the Grateful Dead to sound like finally. Like all the other stuff I heard before was not what I expected to hear. Someone said these transitions were only done in that time period because I noticed that I think what's cool about their jam is it goes in all sorts of areas. So of course, here's what I'm talking about. The verse I think is better than the chorus in my opinion. Because once it gets to this chorus, this is the chorus part. This is the part that I think sounds very like, this is what I expect this is what I expect the 70s to sound like. Yeah, Grateful Dead, okay, this is what I thought it was going to sound like.
Find out that you are the eyes of the world.
Like, wake up to find out that you are the eyes of the world. I feel like I could put on like, dun, 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 a hippie outfit. Someone's going to get mad at me for saying that. People are getting really, I've gotten some interesting comments lately. People are like, she's an idiot. Blah, 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 blah. Ah, see? I knew it. The chorus has a very basic chord progression. Because when you do, here, I'm going to show it you guys right here. Whenever in music, especially, look, literally the chords are G major. Wake up to find out that you are the eyes of the world. Riff. That's probably why I didn't like it, because it was too basic. It was like really basic chords. But look, this verse, which I pointed out, so I was like, the jam is the best, the verse is the second best thing, and the chorus is my least favorite thing of this song. Okay, that's exactly what I said while I was typing. But then in the verse, we get a much more interesting thing. Let me remember how it goes. The chorus is cheesy. It's just kind of basic. But I like the verse. I do. I actually think this is interesting. See, look, E major 7. That's interesting. With riffs and stuff. B minor A. That just sounds good. And there's a second. I like when verses have a second chord progression in them. So we have the first chord progression, which is this E major to A to E major to B minor A. Then there's a second one that's like, da, 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 you know, A to C sharp to B to A. I like that. C sharp, B, D, A, E, A, C. Yeah, so I like that. So I like the verse, the chorus, but I still think this is my favorite song I've heard. Why? Because these jams are really good. Because the first one I heard, I'm like, wow, that's a really good guitar. Again. Yeah, the jam so good. I mean, just everything is so good about it. Like the instruments, the groove, the bass, the guitar, everything. I just, the jams are really good. So now I'm getting it. Because remember, I like Fish jams, right? So I should appreciate other jams by other bands. But I had not yet heard a jam that I liked. And then the lyrics are a little bit, you know, they're a little hippie-ish, but they're not the end of the world, okay? And then I want to now rank all of the Grateful Dead songs that I've heard so far. Okay, so this is going to be the fun part. So I'm going to show you guys all the Grateful Dead songs that I've reviewed, and then I'm going to rank them for you so you know my taste, okay? So let's see. Over here, I'm adding this window over here. So remember, here's everything I've heard, and it goes in reverse order. So I first listened to Touch of Grey. Then I listened to Help Is on the Way, Slip Franklin. Then I listened to the studio version of Terrapin Station. Then I listened to Grateful Dead, China Cat, Sunflower. And then I listened to Estimated Prophet. And then I listened to Dark Star. Okay, so here's my ranking based on what I have, okay? So I'm going to go first place to last place. So today's song, Eyes of the World, is going to go to number 1. It's going into the number one spot. Okay? It's my favorite. Then, my second favorite is going to be um, Grateful Dead, China Cat, Sunflower into I Know You Rider, mainly because that part made me cry. But the thing is, I didn't even know that Rider, whatever, was a folk song. I'd never heard it before, like that it's some old song. I didn't know that. But I just cried when it was like, you're going to miss me when I'm gone. I was like, oh, that's really good. So I'd say that's my second favorite. Um, Gosh, it's really hard because the next ones I didn't love very much. So I'm going to have to pick something. I'd say Estimated Profit will be my third. I liked it last night. I remember being like pretty positive to it. I didn't hate it. I liked it. And now I'm gonna have to rank my lowest three, which are Dark Star 1969, the studio version of Terrapin Station, and Touch of Grey. Okay, so this is gonna go for spot 4, 5, and 6. I've already given you my like first, second, third, and now I have to do 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So this is like ranking the Star Wars movies, by the way. It's like episode 1, 2, and 3. You don't know which one's worse, so you're like, oh, you know. Now, by the way, I plan to listen to a live Terrapin Station, which I think I will end up liking, according to the people who have talked to me about it. Okay, Dark Star last night, whenever that was, 2 nights ago, that was an unexpected twist in my live stream. I was like, oh, I'll just let Shuffle Play go. Hopefully it's not a long song. And then it ended up being the 22-minute of Dark Star. Now, am I glad that I heard it for the sake of history? Yes. Was it confusing to me? Yes. Okay, look. I kind of didn't think Touch of Grey was that good. I'm not going to lie. That was the first song I saw, and I was like, what's the deal with this band? So now, Terrapin Station, here's the thing. Terrapin Station, independently, like if I didn't know it was the Grateful Dead, and someone's like, hey, there's this like 1960s, 70s band, and they made this really artsy album, and they're experimenting with new ideas and new recording technology. And remember, because I liked the Beatles when they did their weird albums, like, come on, A Day in the Life, like that's such a weird song, like when they do the reverse tape and everything and all that. And I love that. So if it's just looking at it as a piece of art for the sake that they crafted this piece and it has like 3 pieces, it's like 3 parts of a story, and there's like a very distinct structure with 6 pieces in it, like that's cool. The actual version, I liked the chorale part, I liked the harmony. I guess that's going to be my 4th just because I'm going to give it points for creativity. I guess the next one is going to have to be Touch of Grey, 5th place, because it is a good song. It's just that people got mad at me for reviewing the song that, quote, ruined the Dead scene. But I still think this 1989 Help Is on the Way, Slip Franklin was just a little like, I think people kept saying there's a better version of this than the 1989. And I do think they were a little bit like washed up in 1989, like just kind of going through some health problems, and maybe they had done a little bit too much hard travel roading and whatever. Yeah. So anyway, that's my ranking so far. So I'd say like, yes, the best ones I've heard so far are Grateful Dead, China Cat, Sunflower. But I thought the jams, I think the Cat Sunflower is a better song than like the actual song, like the chords and the lyrics. I think that's a better song, but the jams on this one are better. The jams on Eyes of the World are better in my opinion, but if you're just asking me to rank the writing, I would say China Cat Sunflower to Writer is better writing. But I didn't think the jams I heard in this 1972 organ were that like, oh my god, like the jams today I heard were much more interesting to me than I liked. So do you guys agree with all that? Like I thought I did a pretty good job of ranking them, right? I had I had the like interesting, thanks for defending me in the comments. There's just been a few mean people who like, I guess they randomly get served a video. They haven't seen my prior stuff, or they happen to catch one from before, and they're like, ugh, this dimwit, blah, blah, blah. She doesn't know anything about music, blah, 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 blah. They're just kind of mean. So, and one guy's like, oh, the video is covered. What's even the point? And it's like, hello, didn't you see my video about how much work I put in post-production just to make the videos? Thank you.